Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to this Maquette Let's Play series. This is Jared coming at you with episode 7. If you remember, last episode was pretty short. That's only because this episode is going to be a little bit longer. But anyways, last episode we went through this super gloomy kind of apartment neighborhood, and then we went into like a sidewalk. Like we just kept going outside Maquette and Maquette, and it was kind of more story-based, detailing Kenzie's kind of drop out of their relationship, and that's kind of where we left off. So I think at this point we're really gonna kind of hit rock bottom for the two of them. Anyways, let's get right into it. The spiral. The healing process is fickle. I had done a decent job of moving on, I thought. I never felt like I was on the verge of losing it, or just one reminder away from breaking down. So it seems like they're pretty much. Yeah, I think they had actually broken up before the last episode, but it was kind of the beginning of recovering from the breakup. Anyways, we get in and super bright light. This like blinded me, and I'm sure maybe you can see in the camera it's like physically lighting up my face. So, anyways, we're gonna walk into the cave. With the seasons changed, I blindly yanked out an old sweatshirt. So we're going to this really creepy cave. Oh, more words. Shoved my hands in the pocket, and my fingers brushed something unexpected. What was it? One of those crystal stones you bought on the beach. Aw. One of those crystal stones that caused us an immense amount of grief and pain for, like, 3 episodes. Yeah. Oh. Well, that crystal just shattered in front of us. That's lovely. And here we've got a massive landscape. This giant floating maquette with all these islands around it and kind of like a ring of rocks like Saturn. So I paused in a couple spots just in case you wanted any fun screenshots or something. I don't know, I just thought it was a really cool scene. The person I'd grown to be was gone. So we kind of see Kenzie is kind of at her mental, emotional, like, rock bottom. She's completely breaking. We're kind of walking along this path some more. The one that wasn't embarrassed. The one that shared sketchbooks. You can see how much Kenzie's relationship impacted her personally. Like, she was the relationship was her. And when the relationship broke, so did she. You can see kind of where that's going. So we got a little bridge, precarious stone bridge, leading us to a floating island. It's gonna take a hot second to walk all the way up. I'm expecting some words, but I'm not seeing anything. So I'm gonna click this obvious lever, and boom, a new bridge mysteriously appears. So I'm thinking, oh, this is gonna be pretty straightforward. Just go to island, clicking these bridges. Eventually, you'll end up at that giant maquette, probably. So at this next island, click the lever, and part of a bridge. I was like, what the heck? If you notice it, kudos to you, because I didn't notice something. So I'm like, I'm really confused. I'm like, wait, what's going on? And I'm like, is there another lever? So I go, I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm just gonna jump off. So I jumped off and teleported me back up, and I got I don't think it shows up, but I got a hidden trophy and achievement. So I saw these words over at this other bridge. I'm like, okay, we have to backtrack. And then I realized there's 2 bridges, and this bridge with the words appeared. I didn't notice it before, but it did. I couldn't deny it any longer. So there's the original bridge, the far bridge is where we came from, and then a new bridge, and then the partial bridge. I didn't notice this partial bridge. So we go over this middle bridge, and it shows us this maquette of the islands. I see a lever on that far island. I click it, and it creates a bridge, but it doesn't fix that broken bridge. It just creates a bridge from that next island to what I'm assuming is like the end, like the next endpoint or whatever. So I walk around and I notice this little piece, and I'm like, oh, it's a broken bridge. I wonder where it could go. I dropped it, but go around, take the bridge. I wonder. Oh, would you look at that? It fits perfectly. So I'm gonna place the bridge piece down. I'm gonna walk all the way back. Lots of running, lots of jumping. Da da da. I'm gonna walk up this now fixed bridge. Maybe I think this could be indicative of like kind of her starting the healing process. Oh, of like starting the healing process of fixing herself and separating herself from the relationship and working on herself, improving herself. Anyways, we get up here. There's that lever that we saw at the Maquette. Walk across this last bridge to this giant glowing orange light. Just, oh, it's kind of cool. I think that this part of the game, I think is maybe one of the most kind of coolest looking graphically. So I walk in. It looks like we're walking into like the sewers of our original life-size Maquette. That's what it seemed to me, anyways. I don't know what I'm doing here. I completely have no idea. So I'm just gonna keep walking across. I see a hole in the wall. The door closed behind us. And this is what we've got. We've got this weird little kind of alleyway room. Got a hole in the wall. Let's read these words first. We had made our own world together and had lived there so long that without you here with me, I didn't know who I was anymore. See, that's kind of reiterating what I was saying is the person that is Kenzie became the Kenzie-Mike relationship. They intertwined their worlds so much that they became their world. So I find these little pillars.
You didn't tell me you wrote your number in it.
I'm assuming I'm gonna have to try to use these to get up there. I'm assuming that's where we need to go next. So I'm trying to see if maybe there's a place I need to touch them to. Maybe I can build a staircase, a ladder of some sort. I look around, I'm not seeing any levers, any places for me to put it. And it's been there this whole time, but I think I finally put two and two together what that thing is back there. It's a maquette. It's another maquette. It's the wall that's out there. Except this is a little more. See, I put the piece down. It falls down. This is really tricky because it's getting gravity-defying because it's on a different like gravitational plane. Like I'm placing it down on our plane, which is the maquette, but the actual wall it's being placed this way. I'm sure you get it. Some physics guy can correct me. So anyways, I'm like, alright, I need to place these pillars in a way that I can kind of walk up them and reach the top, continue on the level. So I'm going to try a couple different ways of placing those pillars. Immediately I realize I can't walk around when it's like this. I'm like, alright, I'm going to have to try some just readjustment. Now I get the idea. There's the third pillar thing, so I'm thinking I'm gonna place it right on top so that I can still walk up and walk under, but reach it. I come to find out that I can't jump to that spot anyways. And so I'm really proud of how I solved this puzzle actually and how quickly I actually got it. But anyways, I retake the second pillar, I place it parallel to the first one, except it reaches the top. So I've got these two pillars placed parallel, and then I take the last one and I place it connecting the two, because while it may seem like we're working with kind of a 2D medium with that maquette, it's actually 3D. We're not just placing the pillars, we're also placing them outwards. So I place that, it's the bridge between the two, and get to the top. You've kind of got these past cutscenes echoing in. Oh, creepy. I second guessed everything we've done. Everything we've said. And we're in this giant room with a key. I asked myself whether we were ever a good fit. So I see this giant key, we can't pick it up, and I walk into the next room. And I see what I'm assuming is to be a maquette. So I grab the key, I try out the door, and it doesn't seem to exactly fit. I tried multiple times, but it doesn't fit. For some reason, I can't get that through my brain. So it's gonna take a while for me to actually figure this out. So I'm going to go off face cam. I'm gonna kind of skip around to different parts because this part of the level honestly took me like 20 minutes maybe, and I don't think you want to watch 20 minutes of me being an idiot and stumble around. So I'm gonna skip around, add my voice here and there, just kind of focus on some of the key dumb moments, and then we'll pick up as regular once I actually figure it out. So at this moment, I'm looking around and I discover this little pit. It's been in this room the whole time, and for some reason it took me, 5-10 minutes to discover it, and I'm like thinking, what is this? Because it looks like an exact copy of this other big pit, but like, what is it? So I place the key down in it, and I go outside, and I see the key. It's not only is it big, but it's slightly bigger. You can see it's the same room, but scaled down, and I put two and two together, and I realized that not only is it the same maquette, but it's scaled down. So if I put a key size 1, okay, so just for example, if I put a key like size 1 in the big regular maquette, then and I go back out in reality to pick it up, it's scaled by half, so say it's size 0.5. If I put that key size 1 in the smaller maquette, it's not downsized as much. Does that make sense? It's not scaled down as much. It's only scaled down by a third. And I don't know if that makes any sense, but this is how I thought of it, and it works the same way backwards. Like if I take a small key, if I have the small key and I put it in the real room, in the big maquette, it's going to be only upscaled by times 2. So a key size 1 in the big maquette would be upscaled times 2. A key size 1 in the real room in the smaller maquette would be upsized to size 3, because it's all about how it's scaled and stuff. So my thoughts going into this and doing this was maybe I could try some combination of manipulating between the two maquettes and the real life room, and just kind of add a little bit here, subtract a little bit, add a lot, subtract a lot, just kind of try to manipulate it, do some weird fraction math, bunch of crap, and see if I can find the right size so that it fits into the keyhole. Because I figured, I'm like, instead of just going up by stages of one size, now there's the smaller maquette which goes at a portion of that, and so some combination of the smaller maquette and the big maquette, I can scale it to the perfect size. But spoiler warning, that's not how you do it. So on that note, I'm gonna skip ahead a lot.
A few moments later.
Alright, even with the video sped up to 8 times, it still took forever. So anyways, after a long time of just trying different combinations of keys, I'm still working at it. Still taking me forever. Still trying the same key out over and over again. And then I had an idea. Eventually. I don't remember when it was. Hopefully it's soon, because I don't know if I can take any more of this. Alright, here's what I think I figured out. So I walk out here, contemplating my existence. I look at the sign again, because I figure... I mean, you have to go towards the, you have to go towards the text. That's how the game's always been. I see that there's light up there, maybe some shadows, and I'm like, alright, what if I can figure out how to get up there? I try to maybe place the key up there, try to, like, make a bridge to go up, but that doesn't work. So I think, oh, why don't I go over to the Maquette, place the key there, maybe that'll let me walk up. So I place the key, I run up the key, maybe, nope, I fall, I run, and I make it.
What the word secret means, right?
We were just one productive talk away from saving it all. Now at the top of this, outside of the Maquette, we have this little ditch. It's not a Maquette though, it's just a little ditch, and we have this key there. And we grab the key, bring it over to the door. I thought it was funny, it kind of fit in this. Bring it over to the door, and finally it fit. The door breaks open. It doesn't open, it breaks open, which I thought was a little funky. Regardless, we walk through. We try to go this way. Figure out we can't go that way.
We're not just friends, are we?
So we just keep walking down the hallway. I keep doing this weird stopping thing. I don't remember why I did that. Walk down some more steps. I'm expecting some text, but nothing happens. Just these flashback voices. So I walk down and we're at the next stage. Every day I wake up feeling broken. Sure. But what does it say? Alright, so in the meantime, I'll let you read it for yourself. In the meantime, I walk over to the side and I see this building. It's like this piece of a building, like a toy building on the wall. I take it off and it blocks off that gateway. So I try to put it back. I'm like, oh shoot, I'm not supposed to do that? But I can't figure it out, so I'm like, oh what the heck, I'm gonna take it with me. Thought maybe it worked like crystal. Hint, it doesn't. And I see this little... It looks like a game board to me. Like just these little buildings kind of set up in this grid. And so I place the building down. I noticed that it puts the wall down. So I was like, okay. So it's a key of some sort. I go out. I'm not seeing anything. So I go to the other side of the room. There's another piece of this building. And I go to place this down as well. If you noticed what you should notice, just keep it to yourself because it takes me a minute to realize it. But anyways, I'm putting these buildings down and I jump off to see if there's something underneath, but there wasn't. And I'm really confused because I'm like, okay, so I got these buildings on this game piece, but like, I'm not sure how to get across this weird chasm, this weird abyss. So I'm gonna play with the buildings a little bit, I think. I'm obviously talking right here. Is this where I figure it out? For you, super sleuths, I'm sure you already know by now because I'm sure you're much smarter than I was. But I'm obviously explaining something. Let's see, okay. I don't know what happened, so I'm just gonna say it now. If you notice, the tops of these toy pieces are a certain color. And they're different. Like, see? That toy, the tops of the building roofs of that toy piece doesn't match that kind of purple color, but I bring it over here to this other side, and it matches these buildings. So I'm going to swap the pieces. I'm going to take this one, place it down. Maybe, oh, it's stuck. I'm going to take it, try to get it to fit. I'm going to place it down. Boom, you see that? The building dropped out there, and so that's the key, is the top of the toy buildings and the top of the weird game board, whatever, building pieces, they had to match. And so I take this piece, I'm not entirely sure what I'm doing with it, but I'm going to place it over here. Oh, and it's crooked, that's kind of awkward. So I place it down, I'm gonna go check it out. So I jump on it, go across, and there's a space gap. And this is where you can start to piece together. You have to, like, you're gonna have to place these buildings in such a way where you can reach it from your side and walk along the rooftops of these buildings to get across to the other side. And the reason why this is trickier than it should be is because on the game piece we've got all these other aspects that are blocking us from just placing it down. Just pretty simple and straightforward. So this puzzle, we have to figure out how to manipulate these buildings so that we can step on our side and have a path leading to the other side. And so thankfully I figure it out pretty quickly. I take the pieces, the board, that's not right, but I get them to fit, and it creates a path for me to walk across. So I just jump up, walk along the building, keep going, and gets me right there. So I gave up trying. It probably makes more sense if you knew the last words that I couldn't figure out. But anyways, so we get to the next part, and it's this weird kind of sideways cacophony of the game pieces that we've been working with. There's gonna be a couple minutes of me trying to manipulate it, but I figure that. Oh, and there I fall. So, anyways, I realized not only do we have to get this game board to go. So this first part of the game board, it's pretty 2D with how I'm playing it. I have to place down these Tetris-like pieces and make a path for me to cross. But the next part of it, it's those two game boards, but they're flipped like this. The gravitational part is still going straight down, but instead of the game boards just being on top of each other like this, and us walking this way, it's now flipped. But it's not like it's just a book, it's just these two next to each other and it's flipped, because this game piece on the left is just sitting right here, but this one on the right, not only is it sitting like this, it's sitting 1-2 lengthwise, but the second part of it has the pieces, has the game boards not 1-2 but next to each other and flipped. And that's going to be kind of an interesting obstacle we have to encounter. So anyways, as you've seen in the background, I move the buildings around and I get ready to jump across, and it's not far enough. And so what I've had to come to realize is that... What did I realize? I don't know. Anyways, that this more purple building, the part of the purple building that gets me across that first stage, that first chasm, has to line up with the middle row on that board. That makes sense. So it has to. So if you have the purple board, it has to reach the end of the purple board, but also it has to have a pathway to reach the middle. So like I have to have a block or building, whatever you want to call it, in that middle slot, and the right end. Yeah, that's my right. So the right end of that has to be open, kind of like how it was set up before. Because if you saw, like it led me to that little spot that was across that second chasm. I just couldn't reach it. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get the first building, I guess, lined up so I can get across, because that purple building, like ideally it's kind of set up alright, and I just need to figure out a way to get this first building, the more orange building, the peach colored, game piece to be at a different X angle here, but Y angle in the second part. It's super confusing, but I have to manipulate it so that I can figure out how to get across both chasms. I don't know how long it takes me, so I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. So after a lot of trying, I finally get the pieces to line up in a way that I think it's gonna work. I realize the peach part not only does it need to be on the side closest to us so we can start reaching across that first chasm, but it also needs to be on the far left of its board, because that's the only way we're going to be able to have enough space to jump across to the second building. So I set it up like this. It lines up perfectly, but of course I fail and I miss. But I know this is right because it lets you run across the first 2 blocks, or the first, I guess that first block, that first row, and then I can just jump across to the next building, boom, barely make it, and then it just kind of leads me pretty straightforward from there. And it gets us to this crystal, and we've got a cutscene. And that is the end of this spiral, ladies and gentlemen. It ended on a good note. Like, you can tell, like, you think the relationship's gonna pick up or something like that. There's a couple of text boxes that I didn't read, but I'm sure you can pause the video and figure it out. But anyways, please leave a like down below if you liked the video, or if you did not, thumbs up anyways. Drop a comment, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, so that you can see more content like this. And we've only got one more episode of this series. It's crazy. And on that note, I'll see you next time.